Okay, so now for the last video, we're gonna do some screens. So start screen, game over screen, ending screen. So let's start with the start screen, which is the most interesting in my opinion. So we're gonna add a new layout and an event sheet for the start screen. So we're gonna call it start, and the event sheet, we're gonna call it event start. So what do we want in that layout? It's a good idea to put it at the top, since the first one we want to use. We're gonna just copy the background. So copy, so that we have something. So there's a few things we want. We want a logo first. So I could go in Sprite and find it in my computer, but I can also just find it in my computer and drag it right here. So that's the logo for Space Chaser, a little game right here. I didn't do that, found it on the internet, so that's not actually super legal, but for the example, that's fine. And we want some text. So we're gonna insert a new object, text. Set it here. And we want this to be in white. We want this to be, I think it was Century Gothic if I recall, and something bigger like 25 maybe. And the text should be something like press space to play. Alright, press space to play. So we need to center this as best as we can. So what about the coding? I think we want music. We want, of course, if we press space to start the game, and we want maybe this to flash, right? Just like an arcade. So if we want this to flash, you know what? I'm just gonna rename this real quick with txt start. There's a behavior for that. So if you go to behavior, you can see there's a behavior called flash. So you put that to the text, and then we're gonna have to go and start coding. So let's see what we want. First thing we want the music to start when the layout starts. So on start of layout, just like we did for just before, I'm gonna play space chase and loop it. Then we're gonna want the keyboard. So if the keyboard, if the key is down, actually if the key is pressed, I guess, for space, we want it to start the layout, right? So go to layout 1, which is the game, the first level of the game. Lastly, we want it to flash. So we want it to flashing. The behavior flashing has a time limit, so we want it to basically loop. So we're going to say at every 1 second, make the text start flash. And you see the duration is 1 second, so that means it's going to loop. So as soon as it's done, it's going to restart again. And the time on, time off is the time that it's visible and the time it's invisible. So we're just going to put that exactly in F. So it's going to be invisible for 0.5 second and visible for 0.5 second. And the last thing we need to change is, you see if we're here, we're starting the music, and we're starting music again here. So it's not exactly what we want. We want the music here, here, just before we go to the layout 1, we should again stop all music. That way, the music won't, like merge. So let's see if that works real quick. And if I press space, there you go, it starts. Right, next step, game over screen. So game over screen will be a bit different. We'll do it directly in the layout. So we're gonna insert a new object. Actually, you know what? Instead of inserting a text, I'm just gonna copy one. It's gonna be faster that way. So just clone the start and call it game over. Game over. Put it right here. Change the text to say press space to restart. You know what? I'm gonna add something else. Shift Enter to go to the next line, and press backspace to quit. There you go. I think I would like this to be centered like this, and obviously I don't want this to be visible, right? So I'm just going to say initially visible, uncheck. So this means that when I die, I want this to appear. So that means when you die, so when the hero is destroyed right here, we're going to say set the text game over to visible. Where is it? Set visible. So that means it's going to appear when I die. Now we're going to create a new event sheet for that. Definitely going to call event game over. And we're going to say in that event that if text game over is visible, that means if your character died, and I'm going to add a sub event, and I click space, that means I selected to restart. So if that happened, well, I'm just gonna go to the layout 1. I'm restarting the game basically, and I'm gonna add another sub event because there's another option here. If I instead pressed backspace, now I want to quit, but to quit we need something that we don't have yet. We need a browser. So we need to insert a new object. Anywhere in the game is fine. Select browser, and just like the keyboard and the audio, now we have control over it. That's just something we need to add, otherwise we can't do what we want. And now that we have the browser option, you can say browser, and you can select quit, which is where is it? Close, I guess. Close. So that means if I press backspace, I'm going to close the browser. And of course, if I go to layout 1 because I restarted, I want to make sure that this is not still visible. So in event 1, on start of layout, I want to make sure that text game over is invisible. So set visible, I'm going to set it to invisible. So that should do it. One last thing. When I'm destroyed, I don't want to go to layout 1 because I was doing it by default. Now I just want this to be visible so that I can then decide if I want to go to layout 1 or not. And of course, this needs to be also in layout 2. And the last thing I need to do is, of course, we have the event here needs to be included in the other event. So I need to include game over in both event. So if we try that, let's find out if that works. It's probably a better idea to test that from the start, right? So if I die, you can press space to start again, or you can press backspace to quit. So that works. So last thing we want is the ending screen. So let's make a new layout for that. We don't need an event sheet for that one because nothing's gonna happen in that screen. So once again, we're gonna copy. I'm gonna copy this. Where is it? I should probably rename that as well to ending. I'm gonna copy this, and I'm just gonna copy some text and just say something like congratulations or something. Make it very simple. So text end, and it's gonna say congratulations. There you go, something like that. Of course, you can make something more fancy than that, like rolling grids and stuff. But I just want to show you really easily how to do that. And of course, now we need something in event 2 that's going to trigger the ending. So we can say something like if where is it? If my score is greater or equal to 1000, then go to the end. Go to layout, ending. So if we go from the start, now I think we have a complete game. So let's see if that works. I'm gonna try not to die. Okay, so that's enough. I guess I die. Alright, let's restart again. Try to be more cautious. Right, so this guy is not seeing me, so it's good. I need to kill those guys. I was so close. Alright, sorry. Do it again. Mini Astras. Only one life left. But I think I'm gonna stay right here. Where it's safe. There you go. Congratulations. So there we go. That's a complete game. Of course, it's not the best. I encourage you to make more changes. Cut that music. I encourage you to make more changes. And of course, there's a lot of stuff I didn't have time to show you, but I think that's a good, good start. And of course, I will try to make more videos. I would like to do a video with platforming next, and maybe a video with adventure games with the way you need to, with some puzzles like Zelda, we need to push stuff, and more animation for characters. So maybe that's something we can do next. But I think that's a good start and gives you a good idea of what Construct has to offer and what you can do with all the tools it has. So congratulations, and keep coding.